So now we're going to cover the reports, and Kyron alluded to it. Maybe there's an animation here. Yeah. Kyron alluded to it. You want to resolve all your errors prior to looking at the reports. You're going to have inconsistent data if your submission is still having errors. Some of the errors will prevent students from being included. So the former CERT 004, it is now the SENR 0661F2 error. Oftentimes, if students are triggering this error, they won't be included on the reports. So in our test environment, we have 21 students triggering the error. There's 21 students that would not be in the reports. Our count would be off, right? And so that's something to be aware of. You want to resolve all the data discrepancy, all the certification fatal errors prior to looking at your reports. And then there was a question about warnings. So if you are on the certification status screen, I guess I could just show you what I'm talking about. You have your fatal errors, which are all now DDs, and then you do have warnings, the warnings in this yellow tab, which are still cert errors. They haven't been converted yet, and they're trying to figure out a way to convert these to DDs. The way they are processed, I think restricted this at one point, but I think they figured it out, so they may be working on it. Don't quote me. I'm just trying to give you good news, and I might be lying. I don't know. No, in all seriousness, though, I do think I heard in a meeting that they figured out a way to convert these warnings to DDs, data discrepancies, and it's coming. Because they are only cert errors, they do not show up on the data discrepancy screen. They don't have a file type prefix like CRSE or SENR. Their prefix is cert, right? And so they're only going to be found here. And so you do want to review these. And the ones that say like Cert 50 administrator staff missing, that would suggest for the schools triggering this error, you have not submitted job classification code 10 for any staff member. So that's what you're not looking for someone and it's missing. These particular warnings are saying you have not submitted data for this type of staff member, right? And there's several of those administrators, people services, itinerant staff, teachers. So that's job classification, and it's by job classification code. So I just wanted to cover that before we went on into the reports. And so this graphic is meant to show you the relationships of the reports. All the yellowish orange colored reports are your aggregate reports. These are the reports that have the counts that you will be certifying. They are the product of Fall 2. And then the supporting reports, which are not required to view by functionality in CalPADS, right? Only those orangish yellow colored reports will prevent you from being able to certify. You have to review those. These greenish blue, whatever color this is, these reports, these supporting reports have all the information that you can actually make decisions on, that you can actually identify students, staff, courses, course details. You have to make a habit of having enough time after you have cleared all your fatal errors that you could look at these reports in earnest, right? If you are having your subject matter experts look at these reports, like your EL coordinators, 2.4 is just a count. If they want to reconcile the counts in 2.4, they have to reference 2.7 and probably 4.3, right? Because 2.4 will show them the students that are counted as receiving services. And then they're going to confirm those counts by looking at 4.3, looking at the course and making sure that the authorized staff with credentials are providing those services. So 2.5 is the educators providing count EL services. More detailed than their assignment is the staff profile list. So that's just to highlight the kind of how you would filter down and drill down into the reports. The detailed reports are very specific to your subject matter experts. Perhaps your superintendent, your CBO, your administration only wants to see the counts, but those coordinators in charge of the programs, those people in charge of the staff, right? They want to see perhaps curriculum instruction 4.3 is what they want to see, right? So you want to drill down into the detailed reports and have them available if it's pertinent information. And then this is a screenshot of report 2.4 EL Education Services count, student count unduplicated. One of their first Fall 2 reports has been there since Fall 2's inception, and it provides us a count of the EL services. When this report is expanded, in addition to in the header, you'll have the education service code. So primary language of instruction will be 1, designated ELD will be 2, integrated would be 3. SEDI, designated and integrated ELD instruction, would be 4. And then you can see no English learner services is 5, other is 6. And then education service code missing is not a number. This is letting you know that you have 2 fatal errors and you can't certify. The total number of English learners would represent the number of English learners reported on census day, right? And so there is a hierarchy because, as you know, secondary level students take multiple classes often, and they may receive different type of instruction. So the students are going to be counted once and only once based on the hierarchy. And down here in the footer is the hierarchy. If primary language instruction is received, and any combination of 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, any of these other types of services, the student will be counted as 1, right? So primary language of instruction takes precedence. It's top in the hierarchy, right? Second on the list is 4, right? So that's designated and integrated ELD, but not primary language of instruction. Most often this is SEDI. And it says it will be 4 if any combination of 2, 3, 5, and 6 and not primary language, it will be counted as 4. So if a student has any combination of 2 and 3, 5 and 2, and 4, the student is counted as 4. So primary language of instruction is the top of the hierarchy, then number 4, and then you have any combination of just 2 and 3. So if a student has 5 classes and some classes provide designated ELD and some provide integrated, this combination will equal 4. Rather than choosing between one or the other, they're just going to be in designated and integrated. And so you can see how this can be used. I think that should be clear enough. If not, you can always reach out to us and we can walk through it together. Report 2.5 EL Education Services Unduplicated Count. Teachers, you see this is in the footer. It's highlighted here. It's the same hierarchy that's in 2.4, but it's for teachers. And so the only difference is there is not an education service code missing because this is in reference to EL students, and it identifies EL students who have no education service code reported in their courses. If not all teachers are going to provide EL instruction, so there is no EL instruction missing. And so when you look at this report, you have the same hierarchy, the same rules. One thing to note is you may have a staff member who is authorized to provide EL instruction. You may populate the education service code for that staff member, right? But if they don't have an EL student enrolled, they're not actually providing EL instruction to somebody. So I say that because there are cases where every staff member, every teacher at a school may be authorized to provide EL instruction, and you may have reported education service code for every class for that school. And when you look and say, why isn't this teacher providing EL instruction? Look to see if there's even an English learner enrolled in the course, right? Every year that catches somebody. So that's something to consider in 2.5. Report 2.6 EL count by primary language. Again, this is a census day reflection. You're looking at the count of all English learners by school and then the total for your LEA, looking back to census day. Report 2.7 EL education services student list. This is how you would reconcile 2.4, right? It tells you the student, the SSID, their name, their primary language, the education service code that they are being represented in 2.4, and then how many different course sections that student has. And you can see that the hierarchy is included in this as well. So students may receive multiple types of EL instruction, but it's going to be based on the hierarchy. Report 3.1, class size by content area. This is where the class ID comes into play, right? Remember, the class ID determines your average class size. And so you want to make sure that the class ID is unique and it represents the class. If you repeat the class ID, you can have inflated class sizes. All right. So you can see the enrollment, the average class size, and it's by school. Report 3.2, class enrollment by content area. One of the more extensive type looking reports is just a breakdown of the students' demographic and their enrollment by content area. I suppose you can use this report to identify if there's any disparages between how students of different race and ethnicities are enrolled in courses. Perhaps a specific group of students are in STEM and another group of students are not, or it's a way to, audit your own uh, LEAs. Report 3.3, class enrollment student list. You see the section ID is highlighted, so it's by individual course section. And then you're just going to have a list of the students who are enrolled, their SSID and their race. It just gives you a little bit greater detail. I went to a Bancroft Elementary at one point in time in my life. Report 3.7, course section enrollment count and details. Here again, you see this is one of the more extensive course section reports. It has a lot of different elements that are used in assignment monitoring. It identifies the education service code. What you see missing though is you don't see the teacher information. So with Fall 2, a lot of times you might need multiple reports to paint a picture, right? So this is when you get your technical experts. Hey, Marshall, I need you to make me a table where you combine a couple different reports for me. You find someone who can help you out so that the reports tell the story you want it. Then you have the report 3.8, course section enrollment count by content area. This is one that we recommend previewing prior to certification, but it's even one that you could preview prior to submission when you're getting ready because it provides the course information coming from your master schedules and your student information system. And it also shows you the students who are enrolled, right? Report 4.1, staff count and FTE by job classification. So this one's kind of tricky, right? Because you have your unduplicated count here, and it shows you your FTE and the staff ratio, but each individual column is not unduplicated. And so similar to 1.17 and 1.18, you can't add these individual buckets and expect it to be the unduplicated total. That's not how it's going to work. All right. Just keep that in mind. And then you have 4.2, staff count and FTE by job classification disaggregated. Right. So it's the supporting report to 4.1. And then probably the report we reference the most when it comes to providing to your curriculum instruction staff in support of assignment monitoring is report 4.3, staff teaching assignment, the detail report. It's going to give you information about the course. It identifies the teacher teaching the course, which is important because you can look up that teacher seed, identify the credentials and authorizations, and see if the reported curriculum represented the reported content based in this report of that course or the courses they teach is appropriate, right? Um, Column 23 is not highlighted, but remember your local assignment options often will allow a staff member who's probably doesn't have the correct credential to teach courses based on a local assignment option. So you want to make sure the curriculum instruction is populating all the local assignment options used to assign staff members. You see the total years of service, so you want to look and verify any staff member with 2 or less years of service. If that is in fact accurate, those would be your inexperienced teachers. Identify your independent study courses, of course, and your EL course enrollment. You see where there's a Y, then you want to make sure that there's some type of education service code populated. And if it's a 5, make sure that that data is accurate, right? There are instances where a course is not designed to provide EL instruction. There are instances where the teacher is not authorized to provide EL instruction. So it's not necessarily wrong, but you do want to verify that information. So this is an extensive report. It has several applications. We'll cover it a little bit more later. Report 4.4, staff profile list. This just provides the most detail about all your staff members, right? Keep in mind what's not pictured here are the generic seed 999s that are reported for course sections because that's not representative of a staff member. It's just representative of course section, right? Report 4.5, staff non-classroom based support assignment detail. So this is teaching assignment. This means these are your 12 and 27s. Teaching assignment is the course associated to the teacher, right? So you see state course code, right? So the the job assignment for most teachers is that teaching assignment, that course section. That's the way we report it in CalPads. Your non-classroom based assignments are for pupil services, administration, or those teachers who are perhaps mentor teachers. This is an older screenshot, and you see 6020 other certificated non-instructional assignment. This screenshot was prior to assignment monitoring. You don't want to report other because it's not specific enough. And those usually result in misassignments. And if it was a course, they could be, a misassignment or an exception. Just because other is not specific, what determination could be made by content described as other? Report 17.1 post-secondary status outcome, right? So this is your PSTS report. You have your program code, right? Or the education program participation type code specifically, your CPA and your CTE programs, and then the status. Students can have multiple statuses, so the count can be more than students surveyed or more than students that you're reporting for if got a significant amount of surveys. Report 17.2 post-secondary status outcome student list. This is just the detail report where you see the student and the multiple or single survey that they reported as their outcome. All right, so just want to talk about assignment monitoring for a little bit and review some of the reports and how they can be used just as a measure to make sure that you're submitting everything as correctly as possible. Certainly we don't promote you trying to do this, but this is information you can share with curriculum instruction, your administration staff. It's information you can use to encourage them to go to their own assignment monitoring training hosted by the CDE. All right, so just to overview the CalSAS process, the data collected in CalPads is not final, right? So you have the data that's in CalPads and it comes from your student information systems. Those assignments that are deemed to be exception or questionable will then be reviewed, right? They're going to go through CalSAS. CalSAS is going to say, hey, none of this looks right. What do you have to say about it, right? So the LEA, your district, and the county office, which most often is your monitor, will be able to review the data and provide clarification. So nothing in CalPads is final, right? So we want to submit and certify the data as it is presented to us, right? Any questionable assignments can be reviewed, and then before it's made public, it is after the monitor gets to review it, and then it is collected again, right? And then it will be made public. So CalPads could be said to be the first step in the CalSAS process. The staff demographic, the staff assignment, the course section, and student course section enrollments all play a part in assignment monitoring. A lot of times we focus on staff assignment and course sections, but when you think of special education authorizations or EL authorizations, the student enrollment can play a factor in whether or not that staff member is authorized to teach content to this group of students. The staff demographic identifies those staff members who have or lack experience or do not have the correct employment status code, right? Or it uses their seed. The CT uses the seed that comes from the staff demographic to look at the authorizations and credentials for those staff members, right? Then you have your course content, of course, is significant, and the job assignment, which represents the authorizations staff member has. A principal may be administrative credential as well as a former teaching credential. So they're authorized to be the principal as well as teach courses on an itinerary basis, perhaps, right? So these four files, everything except for the PSTS is used in assignment monitoring. We always recommend that you get a head start. You start as soon as possible. We're, well into fall 2 now. So just make sure that you leave time to review your reports, not you, but you want to have your errors cleared so that you can disseminate the reports and they can be reviewed. Then coming back to report 4.3, we've highlighted several columns in which can impact your assignment monitoring outcomes. And so you can use this as reference. You can see the individual elements. And if you've been doing this for several years, when we had the course redesign, that was specifically for assignment monitoring. We wanted more detail and greater description in the course so that the outcomes were easy to be determined. Then you have your different CalPAS exception types. You have your CalPAS code, special education services, and your EL code, right? And then when you're looking at this is report 4.3, you can use it to kind of identify these type of exceptions. So CalPAS code, you have your school of assignment, the seed, and the state course code. So you look at the content of the state course code and check to make sure if that teacher by their seed is authorized to teach this content. For special education services, you have that seed for the staff member, and you want to make sure they're authorized to teach special education. Remember, if 700 is the instructional strategy for special education, we're not looking at the course code and the content of the course anymore. We're looking to see if that staff member is authorized to provide special education services and instruction. And then EL service code, again, you're looking at the seat of the teacher because you want to be able to verify their authorizations for EL instruction. And then the education service code, which identifies the instructional method. If it's a 1 and you're saying primary language of instruction, we're going to look at that primary language to make sure that teacher is authorized to teach in that primary language. And they're also going to look at the student who are enrolled in the course to see if their primary language matches the language of instruction that is being taught in. Report 4.5 staff, non-classroom based assignment or support detail. All right, these are for the non-teaching assignments. They're looking at the seed, looking at that teacher's credentials authorizations, the job classification code, and then the assignment.